Since 2022 was a very successful year for video games, 2023 will be a hard act to follow. To mention a few, we have Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Tunic, and Vampire Survivors. Today I want to look into the future at my top games I'm looking forward to in 2023. Hogwarts Legacy, an immersive, open-world action role-playing game set in the Harry Potter book's original environment, will be released on February 10, 2023. Experience Hogwarts in the 1800s for the first time. In the Hogwarts Legacy, players can take in classes at the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the Forbidden Forest, Diagon Alley, and Hogsmeade, as well as other locations from the Wizarding World series, will be explorable. During character creation, the player is able to choose their appearance, house, and gender. The player can unlock and improve new spells, talents, and skills as they advance in level. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is an upcoming action-adventure game developed and published by Nintendo. It is the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, and it will be available on the Nintendo Switch on May 12, 2023. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is an upcoming action-adventure game developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by Electronic Arts, a sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It is scheduled to release on March 17, 2023. While adding new gaming mechanics, Star Wars Jedi Survivor keeps many of the gameplay components from its predecessor. According to game director Stig Asmussen, Cal Kestis has access to 5 completely realized positions in the game's lightsaber fighting, while the extraordinary dual-wield single-blade assault from Fallen Order is developed into its own fully playable lightsaber stance. The single-blade and double-blade lightsaber stances are carried over from Fallen Order. A brand new, heavier crossguard lightsaber technique inspired by Kylo Ren has been added, and because of its longer timing windows for deflecting enemy assaults, it needs greater skill to use. Asmussen claims that through using these various stances to fight against various foes, the player will find out what the greatest weapon of choice is. The 7th main entry in the Street Fighter series is Street Fighter 6. Release day for the game is June 2, 2023. The drive system, a bar underneath the character's vitality meters that enables the employment of multiple abilities that draw on it, is the main gameplay innovation in Street Fighter 6. Each fighter begins with 6 drive bars, which are consumed when they are used, blocked, or when they take damage from a punish cower, drive impact, or supers. The drive gauge gradually refills while hitting enemies or after a brief break from fight, regardless of blocking. Starfield game developed by Bethesda Game Studios, which is a space-based action role-playing game set in an open-world environment. The game was announced by Bethesda at their E3 conference in 2018. The game is scheduled to be released in the first half of 2023. The Settled Systems, which covers a distance of about 50 light-years from the solar system, is where Starfield is located. The Colony War, which took place in the year 2310, was a struggle between the United Colonies and Free Star Collective, the 2 biggest factions in the game. The game takes place 20 years after the war, with the major factions enjoying an uneasy peace. The player assumes the role of a customizable character who is a member of Constellation, an organization of space explorers. The game can be played in either first or third-person perspectives. Final Fantasy XVI is an upcoming role-playing game developed and published by Square Enix. It is the 16th main installment in the Final Fantasy series, and is set in a world called Valencia, which is home to several nations that are each protected by a crystal. The game will have open worlds that are divided into sections, and an action-based fighting system that uses both magic and melee assaults. chalkbows and summon creatures called icons, both of which are battled as bosses and employed by channeling their power in battle, are other repeating series elements.
The usual. 13 years I've waited for this chance. I won't be dying today.
Forspoken is an upcoming action role-playing game developed by Luminous Productions and published by Square Enix. It is to be released on January 24, 2023. Takeshi Aramaki, the director, said that the gameplay would be centered on the speed and fluidity of terrain movement. The game was also referred to by Square Enix as a narrative-driven adventure. In an open-world game, where players can go anywhere at any time, the character will exist. Frey, the player's character, gets access to a number of spells and gains experience points at the end of each battle encounter. Frey's cloak can be improved to increase her attributes and battle effectiveness, and applying nail polish unlocks unique skills. Wild Hearts is an upcoming action role-playing video game developed by Omega Force and published by Electronic Arts under its E-Originals label. The game tasks the player to hunt massive monsters in Azuma, a fantasy world inspired by feudal Japan. The game is set to be released on February 17, 2023. Players assume the role of a nameless hunter who must embark on quests to hunt down massive monsters known as Kemino in the world of Azuma. In Azuma, players can freely explore a number of sizable locations rather than an open world. There are 8 different sorts of weapons in the game, including Wagasa and Katana. A player can hunt increasingly difficult monsters as they advance in the game by unlocking new weapons and equipment. The development team predicted that it would take players roughly 30 hours to finish the game's narrative campaign. As they advance in the game, players can form teams with 2 other players.
And tame a world gone wild.
Diablo 4 is an upcoming action role-playing game developed and published by Blizzard Entertainment, and is the 4th main installment in the Diablo series. The game was announced on November 1, 2019 at BlizzCon, and is scheduled for release on June 6, 2023. Replayable procedurally generated dungeons and character building that prioritizes loot will also be included, along with additional elements like an open environment and player versus player interactions. The 5 playable classes, Barbarian, Sorceress, Druid, Rogue, and Necromancer, all of which have made an appearance in the series, have been revealed. Players guide their character through quests and combat in the world of Sanctuary, as the once-banished Lilith returns to wreak havoc.
I have returned to hell for you.
Sea of Stars is an upcoming role-playing video game by Sabotage Studio, a prequel to The Messenger. It is set to be released in mid-2023. Sea of Stars is a role-playing game centered around 2 heroes named Valerie and Zale, who use the power of the sun and moon to fight against an alchemist. Players can control up to 6 player characters while engaging in turn-based combat and puzzle-solving parts of the game. Role-playing games like Illusion of Gaia, Breath of Fire, and Chrono Trigger served as inspiration for this one. Let me know your most anticipated games of 2023.